Well, by the sound of intense music, you know that it is Mumamo, which is, of course, Mutants and Masterminds Monday. And that's a time where we get together and we get to talk about the world's only superhero TTRPG ever made. Buckle up. We get to hang out and talk with the folks in chat. Let me see what's going on here in chat. First, let me do this and say to chat, say hi, would you please? They made a change to our situation. They delete all the chat that happens before the show starts. It's a new feature that they've given us, which is kind of a bummer because there's a lot of fun stuff that we like to see, live.
Is that a feature?
What's that?
That's not a feature. That feels like a punishment.
Right, it is. Yeah, it's like an oversight that they have they bundled into a feature and said, "Here you go." We're not really pleased with StreamYard right now. As a matter of fact, we're going to be moving soon to a whole new setup, and really looking forward to it. I won't talk too much about it now, but I will say, hey, to Devious is here. Rebel Moose as merch. Oh no, as mech. I want Rebel Moose as merch. Of Gods and Game Masters is in chat. David Bodie is here, who says, "Where are you guys getting your background music?" Why, from the Background Music Store. Isn't Pawn Smith responsible for Cyberpunk 2020? I don't know.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so,
amongst many other designs.
Yeah, these two gentlemen have been just hanging out here, and here I am just jib-jabbing along without even saying hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello there.
A good Mumamo unto thee.
And also with you.
Thank you. And Friendly Neighborhood Chicken's in here. We've got Orion Senshi. Orion Senshi, is that right?
Oh yeah, he's great. He's done some M&M streams. I've caught a couple times.
Very cool. Very cool.
Building characters and going over rules and fun stuff like that. Yeah, he's great.
I love it. Jay Gray says, "Hey, Alex and Steve." David, I'm bummed I didn't think about this first. Punishment.
Oh, punishment.
It's been there the whole time. Dang it. Punishment. Yeah, David Bodie says, David Bodie, good to see you, friend. Always good to see you hanging out in chat. Greetings from Middle America. A time 628 says hi. And to thee we say hello.
Trying to decide if I live in Middle America.
You do.
Being in Ohio, in the middle.
Yeah. Unfortunately, right in the middle finger. Matthew Tyler says, "Welcome in."
The edge of the middle.
The edge of the middle. Yeah, edge of the middle. Paul's here as well. Good to see you, Paul. Boy, you folks are going to really want to hang around for what's in the tank, just because there's so much good stuff, and that happens towards the end of the show. Of course, right now we're talking about Mecha versus Kaiju. Now, I had opened up the calendar very specifically to say, to figure out who told us to do this. Whose idea was it anyway? And you know who it was? David Bodie.
There you go.
So thank you for that, my friend. You get a hero point, and that hero point is, recently we have, I would say we redesigned it. Perhaps is that the
upgraded it really?
Yeah, legal tender now.
It is legal tender. The things that you can buy. Very, very
we'll buy you a crisp handshake if you bring in one to me at a convention.
That's right. A crisp handshake, you say?
Yeah, maybe a pat on the back.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm going to share screen real quick because I want to show it. Because that's what we do around here. We show, we don't tell. Well, we tell too. We do it all. Let me bring it up. And it's just so majestic, I think is the word. I'm certain is the word.
That's a word.
That is definitely a word, yes.
It kind of is a little smaller than not quite as dramatic as I was hoping, but still, look at that face.
Right?
My favorite, when we did the poll in the Atomic Think Tank, I said, I get your point. It's quite heroic. Get it? Super fun. Super funny. Right, guys?
I like it.
Guys?
I'm here
Yeah.
for it.
Yes, I love it too. I'm working on Steve's as well, because we need to have Steve represented. But Steve's is it needs a little special touch. A little.
Yeah, we need 1s and 5s.
I love it. All right, great. So
RC hugs are free.
yeah, they are free. And good to see you, RCA. I hope everything is going well. I know that you were just bouncing back from a home fire, and that's such a chaotic time. Always good to see you. Thank you for checking in. Sean Holland's here too. Good to see you. Who else am I missing? Squire, I almost missed you. How could I possibly? Doc Void is here too. Wow, the whole crew is here. Raymond Stegman's here.
Matthew
Some good
Tyler.
soup. I thought about you just yesterday. Some good soup because it was really chilly out, and I made some good soup. And I thought, you know what? This is some good soup. And then I thought of you, which I'll do for the rest of my days. So, okay, Hornetico, I have arrived.
Hello,
Nice.
Hornetico.
Welcome.
RC does ask a potentially useful question. How many
Okay.
hero points for a villain point?
Mm.
And I'm of two minds of that. Either you give one to the whole party if it's a big enough impact, or you give one to the character most affected to spend a villain point. If you aren't using the challenge point mechanic where they just have villain points that they can use free, you don't have to give any hero
Right.
points for that. If you're using GM Fiat, I typically give a hero point to the character most affected, or everybody if I feel like everybody's
If it
equally
everyone's affected, yeah.
Gotcha. So Villith is here too. Good to see you. Does Ultraman count as kaiju?
It's a good
Does
question.
Ultraman?
Yeah.
I was thinking of the evil Superman from Anti-Earth.
Yeah, different character.
Different Ultraman. That isn't he a robot? I thought Ultraman was a
Yeah,
robot.
I was going to say, isn't he a
Is it-
robot?
Is Ultraman the Doctor Who?
He's like a Power Ranger
Villain?
robot that's not a Power Ranger robot,
Hmm.
I thought.
Yeah.
Chaojin, says Doc Void. Ultraman fights kaiju. I
Oh,
thought
they're
that there was-
aliens. He just looks like a robot.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah,
we
I guess he
talking- are we
would
all talking about
technically be a
the same one?
kaiju.
Ultraman varies. I'm thinking of Ultramen, I think, that look like robots that are in Doctor
Hmm.
Who.
I think you're thinking of Cybermen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I am thinking of. Cyberman. The Cyberman.
Yeah,
So
he's got
he's-
a chrome face and a glowy chest, so I assumed he was a
Right.
robot. But no, he is
But no.
he's an alien apparently.
Is a person with an amulet that transforms him into a giant.
giant. We'll see. So he's a giant, so technically maybe he is a kaiju.
Okay. Well, so listen to this. Last night, I would say early this morning, right around 2:00 in the morning, I woke up in just a panic. I had a nightmare. The chat had congealed together to form one giant chat beast. But then I thought, is that Mecha or is that Kaiju or
That's the
what are the
Grave Jew.
rules? Yeah.
Right.
Gravy kaiju, the grave Jew.
The gravy tat. Yeah, so I knew that was going to happen too, and I had a gravy alert, and I just I'm a little slow on the draw. But so let's talk about mecha. Let's talk about kaiju. What are the rules? How do you define them? What makes a mecha? There's Clifford the Big Red Dog is out there. All of the variations of Ultraman.
Yeah,
Let's talk about it.
pretty
Sure.
much you're just looking at a giant protagonist.
Largely,
Yeah.
the big quality that you're really looking for is things that are giant. Kaiju is the sort of movie genre of giant monsters. Started off in Japan with the Godzilla movies, basically. It's giant monsters that stomp on cities for the most part, and there's been, of course, tons and tons of variations on that since then. Mecha are giant robots, generally speaking. Usually things that are piloted by people, and often designed as war machines, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think that that's an important part of the kaiju / mecha equation is that that's not the normal scale of the universe. They are bigger than baseline, whatever everybody else is.
Yeah, they're giant.
Yeah. And there are little
God.
things that are also protagonists in a lot of those
Right.
stories.
I like this. Hornetico says giant characters are my jam. I've even got a Muppet hero who transforms into a 60-foot Muppet Mecha.
I love
Mhm.
From the
everything about
Puppeteers
that.
pilot. Now, so then if chat were to form together to create one giant beast, is the organic nature, presumably, the organic nature of chat, meaning they would be kaiju?
Chances are. I mean,
Okay.
unless we're thinking that chat forms some sort of, giant artificial, robotic thing, chances are they're probably a kaiju.
I mean, honestly, who can say? I mean, I just have no idea.
Yeah, and the line's
Hey,
not that.
Clyde,
The line isn't as important as it looks. I mean,
Yeah.
ideally, they activate that lizard part of our brain that likes watching big things fight big things.
Right.
right.
I
But,
mean,
they're coming for us.
in the superhero comics, there have been giant monsters pretty much as long as there have been superhero comics. They just haven't been called kaiju until relatively recently, when the Japanese monster movie uh, genre crossed over culturally. So I mean, there have been, but there have been giant monsters in the comics pretty much as long as there have been superheroes to fight them.
Yeah. Claude mentions that the kaiju in danger zones is a great template.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mole Man and his Monster Island. Go ahead. Sorry, Alex.
Yep.
And Earth Prime has something called Kaiju Island, which is I think one of the most interesting locations that we haven't tapped into super much. But
Yeah. Right.
there's a lot of opportunities because it is an island where kaiju emerge for some reason.
Well, so here's a question. So we do plan on making we're going to do a kaiju, and then maybe
Yeah.
a mecha if we have
That's
time.
the plan, right?
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Before we get there, though, I'm wondering if there's some advice, or if you want to introduce something of size, in the language of Mutants and Masterminds, how is that managed? How is that taken care of?
Yeah.
There are a couple of different ways to approach that, and I guess we can talk about some of that first. The standard by the rules way is to give something levels, ranks, and growth, that basically makes it big, of whatever big size you want it to be, and the growth gives it various modifiers to its traits. If you want to, you can make the growth effect permanent and innate if it's just, the creature is naturally big. Some kaiju have permanent but not innate growth because their growth can actually be countered or nullified in some way, and they can get shrunk back down to ordinary or at least normal sized
Usually after the
monsters.
Power Rangers defeat them.
Right. Oftentimes when they get defeated. Um, and so growth is sort of the standard approach. It has a few limits to it in that growth has sort of a preset package of trait modifiers that go with it. And if you're looking to customize or tinker with that, you have to take that into account, that growth is going to give you, a lot of strength, a lot of stamina, a lot of toughness, and generally is going to make something that's big and relatively easy to hit, like the broadside of a barn or the broadside of the Empire State Building, as the case may be.
Right.
You know,
Moving at pace. Yeah.
Yeah. And you
You
start dealing with issues where the numbers just get astronomically out of the player's ability to do anything about it.
right. Things get scale up pretty quickly. So you can, and Alex and I have talked about this a bit on some other memos. You can also simply change the scale of the game, especially when you're focused on something that has, mecha versus kaiju as sort of a core concept. You can, basically just sort of decide that um, normal size is giant, and everything else is tiny, and go accordingly, so that the mecha and the kaiju have normal traits for their various abilities. Their size largely cancels out because they're all giant, um, and the tiny, like tiny little humans, don't even they're not even minions really. They're not even worth
Inconsequential.
having stats.
Right.
They're a
you know.
circumstance penalty at best.
Right, as far as that goes. So
Interesting.
Like we've said before, that's a scale issue. Are all of your
Yeah.
players going to be kaiju sized? In which case, you don't need to worry about growth unless they're a particularly large kaiju,
Right.
and then you're a growth 4 instead of growth 20, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Or would you set them up in a mecha to oppose the kaiju in some way? Does that change the way that plays, or is that
well,
just
that's one of the examples, like in Magnaforce in Super Team Handbook. It's done with power level, but we can also do it with scale.
Mhm.
In that the characters in that team have 3 different power levels based on their sort of normal form, their superpowered cavalier identities, and then when they're piloting their mechas, they have an even higher power level. And
Mhm.
so you can simply say the characters, in the mecha change the scale they operate at, and they're just simply operating at that bigger scale.
So we've got some
Yeah, and you
technical questions.
can. One last thought on that.
Yeah,
You
of course,
can
of course.
change the rank chart if you want to reflect that too. If
Yep.
you really want the power fantasy of like, I can lift 400 kilotons. Is that now strength 2 instead of strength 14 or
Right.
whatever, or 20, whatever it is?
Right.
And then just move exponentially from that.
It's
as your-
giant strength 2.
Yeah, giant strength 2.
Right. Okay, so a couple technical questions I want to toss in here. Squire says, how would you handle the growth of creatures with innate permanent shrinking? Would growth 12 make a mouse a human size by canceling their 12 shrinking?
Generally speaking, yes.
Mhm.
But if you're, want giant mice, you can, simply say that there's enough levels of growth to make them, whatever giant size
Right.
want
You
them to
want
be.
giant mice? That's how you get giant mice.
That's how you
Yeah.
get giant mice.
And again, that's a question of NPCs versus PCs. With NPCs, don't worry about it so much. Just say they are this size rank, and then if their growth is strength normal, it's fine. You don't even need to worry about that. That's just extra work on your character sheet.
Got you. Friendly Neighbor Chicken says, can you use elongation instead of growth to get effectively bigger? It increases reach, but it doesn't specify a specific direction. Nope.
You can use it to get longer.
Yeah. Do you get longer and narrower?
And well, kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
not a lot narrower, but and you could theoretically you can use elongation to kind of stretch out into a big sheet. But it doesn't really. It makes you big, but it doesn't make you giant.
Yeah, it messes with your shape, not your density.
Makes you wide.
So almost sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Really
Size
long
perfectly.
and slender and hair-like.
Yeah.
Doesn't
So
add mass, just expands area.
right, yeah. So we've talked about as far as resources. Chat's mentioned what are some of the titles in our library that we would send people to or would recommend they read?
Well, for the 3rd edition, folks want to check out the Mecha chapter in Gadget Guide, which is where we talk about how Mecha work in the 3rd edition context of the rules. And folks have already mentioned there's a Kaiju template example in Danger Zones.
Yeah, right.
And folks can take a look at the write-up of the Magnaforce in Super Team Handbook as a really good example of a team of mecha pilots, as potential player character types who could go up against kaijus as their opponents.
Gotcha.
And if you're running like a PL14 or a PL15 game, you can have the really big numbers on the kaiju if you want to simulate that. Like your players need that challenge because they're also hitting at like rank 22 or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you know of any, or can you think of any tricks off the top of your dome that that can be used to display the size to the players? Aside from theater of the mind, sort of, it's big. Think about a big thing. It's that big and bigger,
Well, as we say in America, that is a large rock the size of a small boulder.
Right. I mean, yeah, you can use, like Alex is saying, you can use references by saying, this, monster is as tall as a skyscraper,
Yeah.
or pick, a famous landmark, is as tall as the Statue of Liberty,
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
those sorts of things. If you want to provide scale, if you're using maps, especially battle maps and the like, a fun thing to do with kaiju is simply to cut out counters for their feet
Oh, that's
Mhm.
great.
and
Yeah.
stick those on the map just to give you a sense of how big they're talking about,
Clever. That's
and being
very
like, they occupy this space.
yeah, they are big. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it is. In trying to figure out how to represent kaiju even on the stream, I was like, I'm just going with a footprint because I don't know what I'm gonna,
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
a fun.
Giant
I
footprints do
I've
really
never
well.
done that before, Steve. That's a really fun idea.
super clever. I really like it.
I
Raymond says,
love in
okay,
virtual tabletops when I just drop a big token on the middle of the floor, but having 2 tokens for their feet
that's great. And
that's
to be
so
able to move
cool.
them around a little bit on
Right.
in the digital space
Yeah.
is fun. Yeah, I like
And
that.
I think that all plays into the best advice for that is don't get mathematical about it. Don't be like he's
Yeah.
300 feet tall because
Don't get too caught up in
can't
it.
visualize
Rule of
that.
cool, right? Make it
Yeah,
fun.
it's a
Yeah.
skyscraper. Like that's how big it is, and it'll feel different to everybody. But that's the cool thing about M&M is that you don't have to get into the tactical minutia of a battle map.
I'm
Yep.
imagining, depending upon the shape of your kaiju or your mech, whatever, that you could have some fun with it with a foot and a foot and the tail.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it's like this is
Yeah.
it's spread, and maybe even like a clever way to fight it or to kind of say I'm attacking this leg or that leg or that the tail or something.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Fun.
Paul points out, you can make the kaiju effectively into the map. Especially if
Oh,
you're talking about a character who is, like I run up the kaiju's tail and up its back, sort of a thing. Or if the
clever.
characters get inside a mech, you can do if you have maps of the interior, then you can have them moving around inside as well.
Interesting. Kaiju as map or map as kaiju. That's very interesting. Raymond
Mhm.
also brings up Vigilance Press's Kaiju Cultists PDF is perfect with new rules introduced that help
Also
make
an excellent
kaiju
resource.
easier. Yeah.
That's a newer book too. I'm pretty sure. At
Relatively.
least the last
It's
couple
about
years.
Paul
I think.
Bunyan size, says RC. Yeah, very cool. Simon says it's best if you can use a local landmark. A kaiju walking towards London could be the size of Big Ben. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Like
Yeah,
for
give
you, Alex, it's like
players
the biggest ball of
references that are
twine
going
or
to mean something to them.
Alex is a big fan of the ball of twine. I don't even know where that is.
That's
It
not
just
in Ohio.
it seems like it would be somewhere out by you.
It probably is somewhere out by me, but that feels like an
Um,
Indiana problem.
Hornico says I was in a game in December where the party fought Krampus. Yeah, piloting a mech, and it was built as a battle map with different weak points. Oh, smart.
Yep.
There's 2 world's largest balls of twine. One is in Kansas, one is in Minnesota.
Neither of them are in Ohio.
I'll get to work on that for you. Don't
We
you
do
have
have
any
a
kind of
giant
biggest
basket,
anything?
though.
It
We
seems like
have a building that is shaped like a basket that has been empty for years because nobody can do anything with it.
like a basket, like a wicker basket?
picnic
Yeah.
basket. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Literally.
it's got a
Well,
handle and everything.
congratulations. There's your kaiju. Or would it be a mech? I don't know. That's hard to say.
Huh.
Okay, great. So anything else we want to really step it up, Ohio, says Gerald.
We're doing our best to survive. Leave us alone. RC knows what's up. It's about the size of the mental anguish of those in Cleveland made flesh.
Right.
Oh wow. Oh, that's bleak. It's so big. What do we think? Do we want to jump in now to some kaiju creation?
Sure.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
We can definitely do that.
Okay, I hate to say this because I don't want to jinx myself, but have you seen me lurch or jump or disconnect in any way?
Not so
No.
far.
I haven't for a while because I found out what the problem was some kind of weird background thing that would shut down my browser for a minute. And so
Really?
Oh,
yeah, let me know, friends in chat, if you see me blink out because so far so good. Fingers
Right.
crossed, knock on wood. Kaiju, whatever. Okay, so
I just saw Doc Void's Gordian knot joke, and I want Doc Void to know I see you and I appreciate you.
Right.
Love it. Okay, so Steve, how would we want to proceed?
Show. I can try to share my screen.
Yeah,
Uh,
go for it.
okay. And let's see if I can do that. Okay. Nope. Chrome has lost. Well,
Welcome to my world.
yeah, right. Chrome has lost
Always doing this in the
permissions.
background.
Friendly
Tough
neighborhood
Boy says,
chicken
also true, I
asks,
can't see you at all. I think it comes with the whole disembodied thing. That's right. Here's the problem. When you have a forehead like a kaiju, you got to leave some real estate for the talent.
Right.
now I want to make a kaiju called the Forehead.
Well, yeah, my kaiju, the 5-head, would come and beat him up.
That's the sequel. And then there's Mecha Forehead.
Is it being weird, Steve?
Well, my only problem, Troy, is I need to restart my browser.
Oh, okay. Why don't you do that real quick? And
All right.
yeah, go ahead
So
and
I will come right back.
sounds good. And we've got some stuff in chat to tackle.
Okay.
So let's see. Friendly Neighbor Chicken asks, what do you guys think of making mile-sized kaijus with Create 8, then Affliction transformed it to turn it from an object into a character by reallocating the object's power points?
Well, my only problem with Create 8 being the level of that is that's only 250 cubic feet, not a mile.
Oh, yeah.
How many cubic feet are in a mile? That's things I never thought I'd have to ask for this job.
I don't think anybody knows.
Right. Impossible to know, just like the George Washington sketch.
That's right. Impossible to know. Uber brow, the precipitous protrusion that walks like a
Right.
man. Jeez. My father gets called 5-head by his coworkers because his head is
Right.
gigantic. I know the feel.
So we should be sharing.
Oh, look at that. Yep, we sure are. And
Okay,
I was so busy just reveling, I say, in the in all the buffoonery. Okay, so why don't we do this, Steve? If you want to, I think if you hit Control and do you have a mouse wheel?
I do not.
Do you have something that we just want to
Trackpad.
make it a little bigger? I think.
Let's try.
And that's going to be, yeah, that's it.
As for the Create 8 to let me see the question again.
That's as big as my monitor will allow.
Mile-sized kaiju to Create 8.
There we go. It's perfect.
All right.
Nice and big.
So this is a Hero Lab window for folks who are unfamiliar, though I'm sure everyone in chat is pretty well acquainted. And right now, all I've done for our kaiju is given them 12 ranks of growth, which makes them pretty big. But let's go bigger. We'll give them 16 ranks of growth. So they are really big. They're not awesome sized, but they're colossal sized.
They're colossal.
And you can see that they're already power level 8 with nothing else other than those massive ranks of growth, because they're already huge and tough and capable of doing 16 ranks of damage. So from there, we can figure out what other traits we want to give our kaiju.
Pachataros's Hero Lab is so correct. It's like going back in time, ain't it?
Right?
I'm
Oh
still
yeah.
trying to wrap my brain around this Create thing.
Create isn't PL limited, so with some flaws and Affliction transformed effects objects, you can make them much bigger. You can even add extra condition controlled to control them like a summon.
Yeah, I think if the goal is to get them a kaiju companion, just get a bunch of ranks of sidekick and make a second character.
Yep.
I think you're doing a lot of mental gymnastics to try to solve an easier problem than it is.
Ooh, yeah, that happens a lot.
Well, especially if you're trying to find your way around the power level limits, in which case the game master's answer should be nice try, but no.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Okay, so so we're making it big,
Yeah, so it's already really big.
like Ohio's empty basket big, or
No, I wouldn't. I want to say 16 ranks of growth is what, 64 feet tall, 128 feet tall, really
Who
big.
put all this math on our superhero game?
100. I think it's over 100 feet tall, if I remember off the top
that's
of my
still
head.
pretty darn big. Let's see. Yeah, RC says Kaiju Cultist actually came out on May 13th, 2014.
All right.
So by some measure, yeah, it's new. Or than say, the Bible.
So I would tend to say, and you can jump in here anytime, Alex, but that our kaiju doesn't really need much in the way of agility or dexterity, being a big giant monster. And I'm guessing it's probably not more than 0 intellect. It might even be less, because again, it's a big giant monster.
Yeah. I guess that depends. How smart is it? Is it driven by animal instinct? Is it an
Right.
alien invader? Is it
So
good at throwing things? So maybe it has a couple of points of agility
right.
or dexterity,
Well,
not agility.
if it's good at throwing things, we might want to give it some skill in that regard. But I don't
Right.
necessarily know if it has dexterity as
It's
such.
hard to pick locks with those big
right?
hands.
With short little kaiju arms.
David Woody, right? David Woody asked real quick. So are humans the sidekicks to Kaiju, or is the Kaiju the sidekick of the humans, or neither?
That is
size.
a question.
Size has nothing to do with sidekickness.
Yeah, that is a question of campaign scope.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If
Gods and
your
Game Masters says -4 int, so we're going to do that. It's
All right.
dumb.
It's a big animal monster.
Big dumb monster.
And do we know what it's made of?
Nope, not yet.
We haven't got there yet.
It's made of monster.
It's made of monster. Delicious.
All
monster.
right.
Yeah, but David Bodie, you could have kaiju PCs. That could be the scope of your campaign. So that's that's a question for your game master.
So an ability our kaiju probably does have is fighting. It can definitely hit things, and it probably has some ability to defend itself. So let's start out with, say, if we give it 8 ranks of fighting, that will make our kaiju power level 12, which is pretty respectable. As giant monsters go, it's probably on the lower end of the scale. But
I think that makes it an appropriate opponent for a superhero team, though.
Right, indeed. And you'll see that giving it fighting 8 has brought its pari rank down to a whole 0.
You need a 10 to hit it.
It's no longer a negative number. Again, I don't know if our kaiju needs a lot of awareness unless it's got particularly keen senses, or it's particularly good at noticing things, or that sort of a thing. So presence is a particular case for giant monsters, because giant monsters are obviously impressive. Some of that is taken care of by the fact that growth gives you a bonus to intimidate. So our kaiju already has a +8 intimidate bonus just for being giant. It's big and it's impressive. We can give it more presence, which means that it probably has a stronger force of will and personality. Or we can just give it more intimidate ranks, because again, the kaiju is probably not that great at like persuading people
Yeah.
You know,
and I think that's another design question too. Is there a bunch of kaiju and they have like a social structure so that they have a
right?
potential
So presence has more of a
presence going
meaning
on, or is it just I'm scary because I'm huge?
because I'm giant and a monster. And we've established that the kaiju is also not very smart, so therefore, it doesn't exert much in the way of its personality.
Yeah, and this is
Um,
another cool instance of player versus character mechanics. Because
Right.
if a kaiju shows up, the players are probably going to be intimidated more than the characters are going to be mechanically intimidated.
Potentially, yeah.
Like they'll act like they're intimidated even if you don't ever make an intimidation check because they're like, "That's a big monster."
Because that's a giant monster. Right. So we'll leave its awareness and presence alone for the time being. And let's take a look at the kaiju's skills.
Gods of
Now,
Game Masters, that is a genre of kaiju where they could be attractive.
right, they could to other kaiju, I guess. So we can see that our kaiju already has a bunch of skill modifiers just from being giant sized. It has a huge athletics bonus, that intimidation bonus, and of course that giant stealth penalty. Because it's the size of a building and there's not going to be a whole lot of things it can hide behind.
Right.
right.
I have seen kaiju make stealth checks before, though. You remember the end of Jurassic Park where the T-Rex appears out of nowhere to save them?
Absolutely. If
That was like a
if it
20
can
on a
if
stealth
it can
check.
find some cover, could potentially do it. So we know that our kaiju's got a +8 close combat bonus from its fighting. We want to decide whether or not, I think first off, whether or not it has any ranged combat ability. Does it have, and this is sort of looking ahead to its other abilities, does it have a ranged attack like Godzilla's breath weapon, or
I love a breath
like
weapon.
Mothra throwing webs, or
Right.
that sort of a thing? Does it even just have a decent ability to pick up and chuck things, which is a great thing for swatting annoying flying superheroes, as well as things like jet fighters when
Yeah.
they become a problem.
I think we're starting to get into things that we need to know more about the creature before we start adding things in.
Right. So, all right, we need to put that on hold for the moment. I think we should ramp up its intimidation a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's just give it 4 more ranks right now, which bumps it up to an intimidation 12, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, Devious, I was thinking the same thing. Devious said, what about area of effect strength?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's something we can
shockwaves.
definitely look about.
Yeah, shockwaves, or they could also be, irradiated because that's how they got so big or something, and they just leave radiation wherever they go.
They might have an aura that does damage to anything around it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
So
could also do like a line area strength power stunt by knocking a building over on a line of people.
So
David
it sounds
Bullock
to me like we want to talk powers.
Yeah. David Bullock was saying that that he wanted us to get real Chuck Tingle with it. So
no, he said don't get real Chuck Tingle with it.
No, he didn't. He said, "Let's get." I saw it.
I think you're dyslexic.
I'm trolling him.
All right. So let's see. So we definitely, folks are interested in some area effect attacks, and I see electrical blast, which is a fun.
Oh yeah, that is a good one.
As far as that goes.
How would you make it more Chuck Tingle? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Let's give it
love
an array of effects. But we want to give it an array based on its strength. And no, that's not the one I want.
And did we decide that it was meat based?
That
I don't like the way you phrased
that,
that.
but right. It seems to be a meat-based monster, but it could be something else.
I want a giant frog.
Giant frog.
I do like
Somebody
a
said
frog.
Yoshi tongue, and I was like, yeah, just a big old toad or big frog monster.
Right.
Secretes
All right.
hallucinogenic acid.
Oh, interesting. Friendly neighborhood chicken brought up contagious damage, which was interesting. There could be something it's
Yeah.
spreading or
Mm-hmm.
pure bacon.
Contagious
All right.
damage is such a cool extra.
It can be, yeah.
I built a whole character in Rogues Gallery called Pandemic before the pandemic
Oh,
because I saw that there was an extra for it.
it's just bad timing, friend.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it was,
pandemic. We're gonna.
it was 6 years before the pandemic. I was only
Oh,
slightly
okay,
fresh.
gotcha.
All right. So
Rebel Moose has a giant moose.
A giant moose. It's on brand for Rebel Moose.
Yep.
The rebel part of that giant moose implies a slight intelligence, though.
Yeah, it's true. A self-awareness. The form of the kaiju should affect its powers. We should figure
Yep.
that out instead of just massive monster. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out. No, don't cancel me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
all right. So let's give our kaiju a shockwave attack.
Oh, hey,
we're gonna-
someone just sent in a note. Let me see. It says, "Oh no."
Uh-oh.
Kidding.
We've had a good run.
We did. Yeah, it's all right.
All right. We're going to peg its shockwave attack at 12 ranks since it's power level 12. And start off with that.
Do we want to increase the size of the burst area
Yeah, we can do that.
since it's so big? Because 30 feet feels like a little ripple out from its big
Yeah.
old feet.
Let's.
David Bullock says, I don't know why this makes me laugh, but skeletal Irish elk.
All right. So
Huh.
edit that.
I do like the idea of hallucinatory affliction.
All hail the Hypnotoad.
Here we go.
Right.
All right. I don't know why it's not letting me edit that.
Well, Gerald, I'm glad that you can
There we
use
go.
hallucinatory affliction reaction in an upcoming
Right.
session. I'm here to help traumatize player characters.
That's right. Yeah.
All hail Ratma. RC, I love VHS.
All hail Ratma.
Ratma's not a kaiju, though.
Is Ratma just Rat Mother?
I mean, he's bigger than a human, but smaller than a kaiju.
I see. And we're back to Chuck Dinkle. The kaiju isn't real. It's just a mass hallucination caused by a very small villain.
That's a cool idea.
That's very interesting.
All right. I'm hoping. There we go. Yes.
Wake up, Hero Lab.
Wake up, Eurolab. Do the thing.
Wiki.
Okay, so let's bump our area up to 120 feet in radius.
Yeah, I think that's great.
It's pretty good sized, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Friendly Neighborhood Chicken says the kaiju has a living ecosystem inside of it with minions that it can eat.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
I
dope.
like that.
I really like that for the frog idea too, because that's a bunch of giant flies that also are part of the frog's ecosystem.
Right. Okay. Now
the small minions for them to fight.
The thing we want to do with that is if it's going to be a summon effect, we're probably going to want to give our kaiju that effect outside of its array so that it can summon those minions and keep them around while it does its other attacks.
Is it just
otherwise
like out?
It's going to be stuck with those, keeping that power on in its array.
And
not
at that
being
point, it
able
might
to
as
do
well just be a
anything
tunnel
else.
for minions.
Right, exactly. So
the T-Rex appearing and saving the humans is actually a power of the humans.
We're going to call that internal biosphere.
Ooh, that's a good name.
And we're going to just screw around with some numbers and say 3 ranks of summon We're going to call them controlled minions. We're definitely going to make them a horde.
And pro tip for GMs, you can have the characters start with these things summoned so that they don't have to spend an action summoning them when the heroes
Yes.
arrive.
We're going to call them multiple minions. And we're going to have some bunch of ranks of that.
Kaiju fleas.
Right.
That's what Clifford has.
The kaiju has fleas, but the trick is that they're all human-sized.
Right.
God.
Oh God.
What a hellscape.
Just give me my skin crawled.
We'll crank that up so that it has 64 of these minions.
Dude.
I come into a park and there's fleas the size of me.
And what are coming out? What is it? What are the minions? They're just a thing that lives inside the ecosystem of the thing you're not quite sure of yet.
Alex says that they should be giant flies.
Yeah, were we going with the big frog?
So I'm thinking that they're basically, medium-sized flies. They're almost human-sized.
Oh, I hate those too. Blah.
So that is a good chunk of points and a pretty nasty side effect. And one of the thing with summon that Devious brought up, earlier on was the notion that you can also have a summon effect that essentially summons other parts of the creature's body.
Oh, interesting.
The giant blob kaiju in the To the Moon adventure for Astonishing Adventures, for example, summons pseudopods and tentacles that effectively are like individual smaller creatures for the characters to fight. It conveniently gives the giant monster lots of extra actions and lets it fight a whole bunch of characters at once. And it also means that when a hero takes out or defeats one of the tentacles, it's destroyed, but it doesn't take out the monster.
Paul, you mentioned what I was going to mention as well. Paul mentions that if it's a giant frog, then some frogs do keep their babies in their mouth. Maybe they're spitting tadpoles or eggs.
Sure, that would be a great snare attack.
Oh yeah, what about the tongue too? Yeah.
Yeah, so we want to give it a tongue attack. That sounds like it could be good part of its array.
Yeah, I think definitely a tongue is a good kaiju attack.
Yep.
Yeah, super fast and long and sticky.
So for the tongue attack, we can go with messing around with elongation and all of that sort of stuff. But to me, it just sounds like kind of a straight up range damage or ranged snare attack, depending on which, or we could do both with the array and you can just pick one.
Commando Solo says, and don't forget it's a very long tongue. I mean, with something that big, it could tear down a skyscraper with its tongue, right?
Potentially.
And if it's ranked 12, the range of that is enormous. Like
that
covers the
huge. It's going to be hundreds of feet.
Thinking about the sound of a ginormous, hundreds of foot long tongue juicing around and licking things, it just makes me want to vomit.
So let's go with
Troy. We need to work on your verb selection. Juicing around is not a phrase I needed to hear.
Right.
In my human life.
Villa V says, if it snares you, does it pull you into its mouth and start to swallow you?
Could be.
Yeah, that could be a fast grab advantage. And
then you're in Frog Belly World.
Yeah.
So we'll call this
Somebody said the T-Rex showing. Paul said the T-Rex showing up as a player spending a hero point. I think it was the GM running out of time in the session.
Right.
Claude says Kaiju judging the heroes based on mouthfeel. Bowman? Yeah.
And we can add another.
Oh, okay. We have taken the frog Hemoth of D&D and made it in.
And ramped it up basically to an even bigger kaiju, essentially. Let's do a move object effect with its.
David Bullock asks, Would that be supersonic? Are you talking about the tongue? Oh, get a sonic boom, whip crack from the tongue. Oh, interesting.
That sounds like a power stunt, or that sounds like something with an intelligence of -4 wouldn't think to do.
Yeah, because remember, we're talking about a monster that's not that smart.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Like
What
the whip crack could be a side effect of the tongue attacking, but I guess it depends on how it's how you want to stat it up. You could do it as a sonic affliction. That's just a side effect of what happens.
So we'll ramp up this tongue grab up to our Kaiju's full strength.
Some good soup. I could tell you're from America because you said Vermont sized instead of just like a big.
All right, stop that.
The tongue attack should be called juicing around.
No, it's not.
That
should be that's the name of Troy's new kiosk by the park.
Oh God!
Just juicing.
Just juicing around.
With Juicy the Juice Bear.
Juicy the Juice Bear.
Troy, that frog is something juicy fruit.
I do not want to know what flavor that juice is. I just seems caca.
So let's see. So we're coming together with some pretty good stuff. Obviously, we can keep building out this attack array with a bunch of different attacks. Depends on just how much, how creative you want to get and how many options you want to give your kaiju. And we'll probably, because we're talking about a giant frog, want to round things out with giving it a bunch of swimming, giving it some amphibious traits so that it can either breathe underwater or hold its breath for a really long time.
Oh yeah.
Those kinds of things. Make it aquatic so it can rise up out of the bay to attack the city, or jump out of the bay, which is even more terrifying in many ways.
I know everything about that. It does need a good leaping
right
power, I think.
It would need plenty of ranks of leaping. So let's do
wall crawling. I mean, it's hard to crawl on a wall when all the walls are weaker than you are.
well, it could have like a weird sort of gecko thing that can climb buildings and things like that.
Yeah, maybe its weight doesn't automatically tear the building down. It's
because it's superhero physics.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 10 ranks of leaping lets it leap a mile, which is pretty good.
How do you handle? So, do you fine tune the? Because you something that big, jumping a mile with the radius of its body, and most of it hits the ground, right? Like I mean, it's from neck to. Do frogs have nuts? I mean, like so. Basically, they hit the ground. And they, do you is that baked into sort of the damage they do?
Well, we already have this convenient shockwave effect.
Well, there it is. Okay.
If I were game mastering, I would just be like, the giant frog monster leaps in, and here's this shockwave. Make a resistance check.
Right.
When it hits the ground, and that would just be its first standard action. It's what it makes quite an entrance.
Yeah, absolutely. That's stem to stern. Thank you so much.
So far as that goes. Paul, absolutely do not bring up the square cube law. That does not exist in superhero universes. There's no such thing.
Yeah, David Bullock, I heard that too. David Bullock says 10 kaiju leaping.
And then on its next turn, it opens up its mouth and it releases a whole horde of flies.
Does it have some kind of croak?
Swarm in and attack you, followed by grabbing someone with its tongue and swallowing them.
And then it says, "Oh, ribbit!"
Just frog things.
It's off to a great beginning, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my gosh, what?
See, this is where I was like, maybe we'll have time to make.
I know. I was like, maybe we do too. You're like, maybe we try the one first.
What's a natural enemy of the frog? I need to build a robot that is the opposite of a frog.
Snake,
right? Mongoose.
Scorpion.
Mongoose robot.
Is it the scorpion and the frog myth?
It is
that
the
what
scorpion
is?
and the frog. That's
Oh,
a
that's-
scorpion
that's
bot
a
would
good
also be
one.
great.
I'm
Yeah,
making a
that's-
scorpion bot to fight your frog.
You
monster.
absolutely should.
I like that. Oh, I like that. Maybe we should incorporate that into a later stream. Hey, while we're doing this, I wanted to share real quick. 1 second.
Oh, crane.
Cajun in a canoe. Get out of your claw.
What did he say?
That would be
Cajun
giant.
in a canoe is the opposite of is the enemy of a frog.
Love it.
Right. Frenchman with an appetite.
I think I found a good model for the frog. Let me see if I can share
Love this
it.
frog. That's not the Space Marine frog, is it?
No, it's not.
Oh, it is. It is the Space Marine frog.
Like this
He's a
desert.
mad little dude.
That is excellent.
Yeah, it's taking its
I
sweet
love
time
him.
loading here. But yeah, he's just like a little
Like
weird
this
dirt. He's
desert
mad. He's real
rainfall.
mad.
He's mad.
He's
He's
like,
big mad.
how dare you wake me up? Wow. Okay, so this has been a ton of fun. But we have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about as far as the tank goes. And we have
Yes.
yet to even say, hey, what's going on in the Steve Kenson cinematic universe?
Gosh, working away on various projects, including this giant frog. And soon we'll be wrapping up the voting on the next M&M mix-up. So
Yeah.
folks in the Cape and Cowl Club over on Atomic Think Tank, make sure that you get your votes in on the hero team and the location that will be in the next mix-up. And you can have a shot at influencing what it's going to be. The characters are going to team up with another hero team, and they're going to go somewhere or do something. So let's figure out what that is, and then I will be able to get down to work on it.
Absolutely. You brought it up, and so I want to. Whoa.
Can we have a
Quite how I
Mecha
want-
Kaiju submission contest? Of course we can.
Oh, why not? Why wouldn't
Yes.
we? We should.
Show me your mechs.
Yeah, just a real quick overview of the calendar, which everybody is using and referencing. I really appreciate it, everybody. We have very small letters, so I'll read them to you as soon as I can find where I put the screen. But we've got next week. We've got our chat on
This
when.
week.
Is it this week, Wednesday? It is. I'm sorry,
Yeah?
I see that. Yep. It is this. It is this one, and then on the then we have our it's the workshop. That's next week, right? Next week, Friday.
Yep.
That is also this. Yeah, workshop is next week, I think.
That's right. Next week,
Yeah, I
Friday.
think the Dev Q&A is also next week.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries.
I
No
stand
worries.
corrected.
No worries. And I've got it up here, but it's so tiny. It's hard to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that, and we'll keep everybody apprised. Of course, we've got lots of things going on. We've got the super spooky sale that's happening, and I'll share all that kind of information. But lots of great things next week for the folks in the Cape and Cow Club. Alex, what's going on with you?
Well, the Joy of Game Mastering is back tomorrow, so that'll be fun.
Oh yeah, nice.
That'll be at 5 p.m. our time, my time.
Okay.
So 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. EST. We'll be talking about lots of fun stuff for that, and I am working on getting the mix-up ready for you guys to have on Wednesday. So
Ooh.
Exciting.
I think that's all the stuff that I could talk about because I got a really exciting thing this weekend I'm not allowed to talk about.
Oh, I know what it is. Very, very cool. Gentlemen, we've given everybody a bonus minute. So I think, we're done here.
We're taking
right.
10 next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, we're taking 60 next week. We're off next week. Don't forget to mention that.
Oh, that's right. We
That's
are off
right.
next week. So we move forward. So people who are following the Moo Mammo calendar know that it is always going to be chaos. We're going to be bumping things around, and you'll see if you ever see a day when now you're going to see a day when there are 3 topics. We haven't quite found a place to fit in any of the ideas that were removed or bumped ahead that were so good. I also wanted to Thank again, David Bodie for the subject. This is a great one. If you all remember when we did our planning session for Mumamo, one of our most beloved episodes. We've got more of that coming. So just watch as things kind of move around, and if you've got questions, of course, you can post them in the Atomic Think Tank by going to atomicthinktank.com.
Indeed.
Yeah. Anything else, gentlemen?
Nope. Wish everybody a happy Canadian Thanksgiving and Indigenous Peoples Day next week.
Nice. I forgot about that. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and play this little bit of Expanse fun, and we will transition into what's in the tank. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome to your next operation, the Expanse role-playing game Transport Union Edition. Based on our intel, this is nothing less than a game changer. We're equipping ourselves with a brand new core rulebook packed with everything needed to navigate the dangers ahead. With 3 new supplements come 2 new sets of dice. And yes, we can confirm gaming minis for the Expanse RPG. And for the new folks, welcome aboard. The Expanse RPG runs on the stun-powered adventure game engine. It's fast, easy to learn, and prime for action. Veterans, this edition integrates with all your past operations. The difference is more character options, more ships, more equipment, backgrounds, adversaries, and even more still. All of this takes place between the 6th and 7th novels for The Expanse by James S.A. Corey. We've identified 2 mission profiles: Free Navy Conflict and Demon's Gambit, a deep dive into the Transport Union era. And if it's more depth you seek, the Crew Companion is your go-to. It's a player's guide offering more character options and deeper insights into the universe of The Expanse and your place within it. And for the first time, official miniatures for The Expanse RPG. We partnered with War Games Atlantic to bring you 2 sets of miniatures, a set for the crew and another for spaceships. Your crew, your ships in the palm of your hand. Back The Expanse RPG Transport Union Edition today.
What? That ain't right. That ain't right. And neither is that. Devious, are you with me?
Yeah, I was just saying that, since they said I wore it 3 times, I can't return it. And so I have to sell it on Craigslist. But I mean, how many people on Craigslist would want a custom-made purple sequin crotchless gorilla suit? I have no idea.
I wouldn't want another
one. Oh my God, are we live? Are we live? Oh my God.
Nobody needs 2 of those.
Well, yeah.
Well, yes, sir. Excuse me, sir. We are live. Sir.
Oh my God. Oh my
God. This is, of course, an extended Mumamo. We've done this now for, I want to say, has it been a couple months?
Yeah.
Going over like gangbusters, by the way. People love it, and the reason why they love it is because of of the topic. And here's the topic. You ready for this?
What's the topic?
What's in the tank?
What is the tank? This is our section of the show where I play this music over and over again to drive me crazy. But no, it's not that. It's where we talk about what's in the tank. The tank, of course, being the Atomic Think Tank. That is it is a community hub for Green Ronin Publishing, and it is just filled with all kinds of goodness. Not the least of which is the goodness of Mutants and Masterminds stuff. And we get together, you and I, on a Monday evening, we'll say, and we share all the goodness so that you can be apprised if you may have missed something, right?
Right.
Okay.
It's easy to miss things because they come up here and there all throughout the week. So it's good to review every once in a while.
It's also good for us to take a minute to say, look at this cool thing. Did you see this cool thing?
Absolutely. Did you see it?
Lord Richter, you and me both. Purple sequin crotchless gorilla suit. That is a phrase I never imagined hearing ever. Not even deep in the worst binge. Okay. Well, Troy's got a problem about reading things out loud before. It's a very Ron Burgundy-esque kind of problem. But you almost got me. Not today, sir. Not today, Lord Richter. Lord Richter, did you play Ultima Online by chance? Anyway, so Devious, let's get into it.
Take it away, Don Pardo. Yes. Anyway, what's in the tank this week? Well, we have a number of items there. I did an article on the social gaming contract for session 0. It's basically like an agreement to talk with your players about things that they need to understand and expect to do, expectations of players. There's a really good little article, little question that Tony Jones put up of reusing designs with artificer, inventor, and ritualist. Basically, if you use a design once, why can't you use it again? If you've already designed it, can't you just do the build phase after that? I also did an article on dynamic duo running mutants masterminds with just one player and one GM.
Yeah.
One of the best games I've ever had in my life was when I was in college and I had a roommate, and that's what we did because we were boring and we had no life. So we did role-playing games together because in between the quarters, there was like several weeks of downtime with nothing to do. So that's what we did. But and then we only have 3 articles so far. I did put in some articles just today, kind of relevant to the topic of today. But there were a number of items, stat blocks in the Aegis files this week, including Megan, the daughter of Thor. And if you'll remember back, that was the lovely lady with the club known as Thruddstock that Jack Kellum had created. I just love that name. Thruddstock.
That's
the dream
intense.
The Dream Night Stalker is part of Matt Mabray, who I have to apologize. I previously misspelled his name as Mabray. I didn't put in that first Y there, but I apologize. Mea culpa. I got that corrected. Paul Rua said he misunderstood the assignment, but I think he was just trying to disguise his genius.
I think so too.
What he did was he went back and he took heroes from previous Aegis files that people had put in and kind of said, hey, here's a great reason why these heroes are together. And I think it was awesome. He did the local heroes in Hernhouse. We have Kaiju Hime. I really hope that I pronounced that right. Yes, in Night Stalker, Matt Mabray's character looks like Jennifer Connelly with a unicorn horn. So I'm very pro. I'm very pro that.
Love it.
Of course, and we have Doc Bronze, the man ahead of his time, Jack Kellum, F-Less Garden by Chris Davies, and Soulfire, another Jack Kellum character, very, very reminiscent of like a Green Lantern, like
Cross-time omniversal policeman.
That is right. So, we have in the news the challenge, a dream, a team, and a theme challenge. Basically, what we're wanting you to do by next Saturday, you have to have it in. Create a team of 2 or more characters in the Aegis files. Come up with a reason that they work together or have a common goal. Make sure they have assigned roles in the team from the Super Team Handbook and extra credit for stat blocks. It's not required they have stat blocks, but if they do, they're going to count as a double entry for it. So that's perfect. And that's what, Matt Mabray did, basically put in the Night Stalker so he could have at least one of the characters represented from his Alpha Cluster team. So that's fantastic. That will
And so if you win this contest, basically Devious and I set up in your living room and we do a what's in the tank while just intensely staring into your eyes.
Exactly. And I will be wearing the purple sequin crotchless gorilla suit.
You better be. You better be.
Absolutely. So, that's what makes it worthwhile. And I'll leave it there for you too. It's only been slightly used.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. So,
as a token of the memory that will never leave you.
Exactly.
It will haunt your dreams.
Yeah, I think that memory would stick with you probably if that.
And I, of course, will bring some gravy.
There you go.
Our signature gifts wherever we go.
Just don't get it on the suit because you know how it dries up around.
Not again. Well, I mean, it's their problem at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah, they get to deal with the dry cleaning though.
I can get a new one. Anyway, yeah, you do there is criteria here for what you have to do, and you have to remember you have to have the hashtag dream team in your entry to qualify, because that is how we search for entries. That's why we do a search on them, pull them up, figure them out, randomly roll, and then find the winner from that. So that's vitally important. And again, it's October 13th by 6 p.m. We have to have the entry in, and we'll announce the winner on the following day's memo. So that is one thing. But I like that. I also like that idea that got kicked around in chat of having a Mecha Kaiju. That's another good idea. I like
Take
that
your
one.
kaiju to work day.
Take your Kaiju to it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I do like that. A kaiju and a mecha. Well, I mean, why not?
Well, either way, I'm good with either one, whether it be a mecha or a kaiju. If you get either one in there, but I am really, really hoping that Steve and Alex finish that frog and put it up in Aegis files.
Yeah, that's the plan. I
That
don't know
would
if
be
we'll put it in Aegis
delightful.
files or if we'll offer. Yeah, it really was, or if we'll offer. I mean, it is sort of the people's frog. Some good soup says I misunderstood the assignment. A bunch of the heroes are together as couples now. Well, that's sweet.
Well, there you go. Oh, and again, RC Beeler still out there, still had a house burned down. I do not know whether or not Prince Zuko, his kitty, came back. I am crossing my fingers that the kitty cat has. I haven't got news.
Yeah,
me
too.
We're saying
Why
our
do you
prayers
always
for
bring
the
up the
kitty
cat every time I'm laughing at something from Chad? It makes me
I'm
sound like some
sorry.
kind of a monster.
You monster! You horrible, horrible man!
Lord Richter says I am going to talk to Jack and bless you with a sparkly purple gorilla and his friend for your Aegis files. Lord Richter, it is it's yours too, friend.
Yes, it's all of ours.
It's
I ask if you do use the suit, just hose it out afterwards. That's all I ask.
Did you know name the kaiju Peepoo? Peepo?
Peepoo?
Peepoo?
No, I was ripping on the because you had brought up Juicy
Glamarilla.
the Juice Bear, and I was like seeing Juicy the Juice Bear as kaiju versus versus this frog monster. I was like, we must make it so.
The hands of I know we got to take it to some weird, we've got to really overproduce, over deliver rather. Folks who are fans of Mumamo will no doubt remember way back in the day when one of our dear friends, Crystal Frazier, before jumping over to Wizards, created a map. Did it right online, right live, like a whole setting, a whole kind of thing. Juicy. Hi, Juicy. I love that. And Juicy the Juice Bear came from that map. So if you go back, you'll see the origin story. We haven't even talked about Mountain Treacle, which is a very popular drink, and the flavor blasted orca whale that is the mascot for some reason.
Did you guys ever do a logo of Juicy the Juice Bear?
I did. Yeah.
I need it. I need to have it on a shirt. That needs to be just like, that way everybody in the know will order the shirt, and like people who are Juicy the Juice, what's that? But people who know.
Well, what's funny is that we might actually, you may see Juicy the Juice Bear on a shirt in time for Krampus. I don't know.
Who knows? And maybe a crotchless gorilla suit too, because
maybe not so much that. It's just that takes a lot of time and artistry.
No, I'm just saying the whole suit. So anyway, it takes forever to get the sequins clean.
It does. It really does. Yeah.
But RC needs our help. Owen Casey Stevens, he still has the beacons are lit deal up on Drive Through RPG, but there's also a link again for his GoFundMe. The featured article this week, I just did one for the social gaming contract expectations of players. A goal of the article is to create a social contract for review and discussion. It's not like an actual, this is a document you all have to sign and obey or else there'll be legal repercussions. No, it's not like that. It's just so everybody can go over it and talk about the ideas about it. So everybody gets on the same page. Everybody understands, what we're doing and why we're doing it. Share the spotlight, support your team, plan together, assist the game master as best you can, maintain a positive attitude, handle frustration constructively, embrace failure, resolve disputes, managing rule conflicts, and respect the time of your fellow players. Being prompt and ready, prioritize attendance and commitment to being there, be mentally present, don't be on your phone, things like that.
Yeah, be a hero, not a zero.
Yeah, there you go. But exactly. For the stat blocks, of course, I had to do Megan because I got a mad crush on Megan. Megan, daughter of Thor and Sif, supposed to be guarding the Rainbow Bridge with
You would.
Heimdall, but of course, getting him drunk instead. They were caught off guard by a Jotun attack,
Oh.
leading Megan to destroy the Bifrost with her grandfather's club, Thrudstock.
Oh.
Because you have to say it that way. You can't say
Yeah.
it's Thrudstock to protect
Yes, you do.
Asgard.
I would
She
demand
fell
it.
to Midgard, has been adventuring there since. And if you remember, he did Hyperia earlier. Hyperia, who's the daughter of Zeus, and they have a little thing going on whose dad is stronger. So I
Ah.
love that little character tweak there. That's nice. That's a nice
Yeah.
touch. We have Kaiju Hime, the tale of Princess Kaiju Hime from Japan, who was sent to Earth and then taken back to the moon, holds a kernel of truth. It's actually, a legend, though not exactly as told. And he basically bills the whole thing, including Earth Prime information, because her people use the moon as a staging area, unbeknownst to the Far Side City. So
Oh.
it's Earth Prime base. I think it's a great thing there. The next thing is basically Paul Rua. God bless him. He says,
Just Paul.
This Paul doing this team building, the local heroes in Hern House. And I kind of cheated and got a direct quote from him. Said, I'd love it if you could call some attention either there or tomorrow, meaning today, to local heroes in Hern House. It's genuinely not for me, but I'd love to see Steinbrewer, the Man Now Dog, Simon Wentworth, Brian Mack, and Gerald Shrimsher get their well-deserved flowers and maybe encourage more folks to post stuff. This is just me being paranoid, but I've been really wanting to say stuff like, it's not just the same 4 or 5 folks who are allowed to post. We want to see everyone's stuff.
Yeah, and we love it. Yeah, absolutely.
And I agree with this. I know I personally want to see more stuff from that guy who did the hydrant and paper bag bot.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that as well. We're all kind of resonating on the same frequency because we are so engaged and really it's about the entire community. If you're sitting there and you're hanging on to something, or you want to create an article or opine on a subject, but you're not quite sure how to start, reach out. You can reach out to Devious. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to any of the other folks there. We are very much looking forward to handing the mic to other folks. And so
100%.
Yeah. And so don't, it may feel daunting at first, but dive in and especially ask for some coaching or guidance. You'll get a couple tips and then you'll be well on your way.
Did Nate Robbins just give us more money?
Oh no, Nate, you did not. Nate,
you really have to stop that.
I got to try to turn that. I keep forgetting. Nate, you so-and-so, you generous little $1.99, and yet still $1.99 of his hard-earned money. Reach out and touch face. Is it face or is it faith?
It's faith, I believe, but that's okay.
Don't touch face.
Yeah, don't touch that. Not without consent, because consent
That's
is
true.
getting.
That's true. Yes,
So.
Nate is a scamp. It's my thing. Yeah, I know. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You've reclaimed it. You've got a lyric for your own situation.
It's my thing.
I like how part of our culture is Troy forgetting to turn off the stars and Nate just sending us $1.99.
It's happened. It's tradition now. It's just
It is. Yeah. I mean, Nate, very sweet. Thank you very much. Love you too. And you know what? If I could send you something, well, which I can, because I've got a whole envelope here that I need to drop in the mail because you were the proud recipient of a Gravy Squatch gifts.
Yeah, all these payments from Nate have just been the installment plan.
Pretty much covered the cost of my gravy squatching.
There you go. So, Lord Richter, damn, now I am seeing Depeche Mode singing in a purple sequin gorilla suit.
Okay, I wasn't until now, but yeah, thank you.
Thanks for that image.
Do not call me Gravy Baby.
Gravy Baby.
Do not. You might have been calling me Gravy Baby.
We will never call you that again, Gravy Baby.
Maybe Gravy Baby.
Maybe Gravy. Maybe Gravy.
Maybe Gravy. It's hard to say. Say that.
Maybe Gravy Baby.
Okay, where have we left off?
Well, we are on to the creator spotlight, and I wanted to specifically bring attention to the amazing, the incredible Jack Kellum. And remember, guys, if you have a superpowered by Eminem product, let Troy know. If you got a line, let Troy know. We will blast it to the high heavens, and you can even get your own space on the atomic think tank.
Right.
Can you
And
tell me a little bit about that, Troy?
We sure. Yeah, absolutely. So basically, you get your own space on the atomic think tank. No, what'll happen is you'll say, "Hey, I'm publishing, or I'm about to publish," or you don't have to be published, but you do have to be in progress, so, in a process that you can share. And it's a space where you do need to. There's some upkeep, and that upkeep is consists of things like sharing your process or talking about where you're at and developing sort of a rapport with people so that they know when your stuff is up and coming, and or when it's published, and we'll amplify it. We'll do all kinds of great stuff. The goal there is just to have a closer feedback loop with the people that are buying your stuff, and also to help you sell more of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, let us help you sell stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to build this community, and we know you love the game. If you didn't love the game, you wouldn't be here listening to us rant on about the game, now would you?
Right. And the other piece of this too is that we want to see all the little aspects of I say, but you know what I mean, the facets of the community thrive. And so if there's something that you're sitting on, or you'd like to see something adjusted or changed in the tank itself, all you got to do, send a note. Both Devious and I are available for chat if you want to get into sort of like some suggestions for improvements and things. That'll be my door you'll knock on. If you want to talk about like articles and getting some stuff written up, Devious is your man. And we can tackle all that together, but really open to all kinds of good stuff. And hearing any critical stuff, maybe the tank is growing in a weird way, or it's the information can be better organized, or whatever it might be. We are here to hear it, especially here to hear it if it comes with some suggestions as to how you might want to see it and be improved for all involved.
It's an open door. We open line of communication directly to us. Tell us how you feel. Give us feedback. If we're doing something weird, let us know it's weird. And if we're doing something that you really appreciate, God, let us know that too. We like good feedback. We like bad, any kind of feedback is good.
It's one of the things that has really set this community apart from anything that I've ever dealt with. And that is that there will always be people who are like, hey, I've got a complaint, and I get it. And I'm not, I don't, that's the job. Is to hear those concerns, and I'm here for it. But when you start to hear the concerns, but they come with like kind of a positive, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking this, and it's a collaborative effort to improve the space and we're taking into account everything and everyone. It's really refreshing. It's a really nice place to hang out and do your thing. And it's also not a big time sink. You can come in, read some stuff, hang out. We are pro lurker. Not everybody has to be like out doing the thing. But if you're enjoying a thing, let us know. And if you have an idea as to something, maybe perhaps you can, and a way that we can improve things so that you enjoy things even more, or that more people can enjoy, let us know.
And we heart lurker. We heart lurkers a lot. And lurkers, if you're out there, give feedback. Go ahead and give the thumbs up to something that you like. We do enjoy if you don't want to say much, that's fine. Just, give a like to what you think is a good thing. And we appreciate that as well.
And if you don't like it, just say boo.
There you go.
Don't do that.
A simple in the comments, dude, you suck. We'll work fine. That's fine.
Boo.
Boo. But we do actually have a question from Temp. Temp asked, so is this exclusively for Mumamo? No third stage? And I think he's asking about, can people who make age stuff also get a space here? Is that right? Temp?
That's the Age Creators Alliance. And
right.
the Age Creators Alliance, for folks who are publishing through that, it's a different program, but the same idea. If you published or are getting ready to publish through the Age Creators Alliance, I'll create a space for you. We've done so for our friend Bren. We have a a couple more in the kind of in the process of being created. Absolutely, 100%. So if that's you, I do believe that we'll have a Jay Gray who will be creating something for. I think it's going to be for Age. I could be.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that's what he's working on.
Yeah.
Judging from the
So
updates I've seen.
so yes and absolutely yes. Yeah.
100. But
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff coming calendar wise that you're going to want to be tuned into. I can't give you all the deets, but I can say, hey, you liked Engine. Wait until you get a load of Engine because it's coming. Another one's coming.
We, everyone's been very focused on the Expanse, but the third stage is about Cthulhu Awakens and all Fantasy Age and all the different Age products.
That's
it's
right.
not just that, but man,
Yeah.
everyone's looking forward to Expanse. That is
Holistic.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool stuff. Okay, so where are we at?
Well, I just wanted to talk about a little bit about Barrow. Basically, we convinced Jack Kellum to do a Kickstarter to put together a city. It's kind of like if Gotham met Ravenloft.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gravenloft.
basically that's Graven. There you go.
Ravenloft.
Barrow, Massachusetts, a hidden metropolis of nearly 7 million people in southern Massachusetts, largely unknown to the outside and is easily overlooked unless you're unlucky enough to find it. Basically, Barrow kind of has this trap thing going on. It's a prison and a trap for all kinds of evil, vampires, werewolves, eldritch horrors, notorious criminals like Jack the Ripper, who still haunts these streets.
Wow.
I kind of jokingly said a logo one time, and I think it applies. Barrow, it's not a nice place to visit, but now you have to live there.
Wait, did you say Jack Tripper from Three's Company?
Yes, Jack Tripper. Jack T. Ripper it's like, come and knock on our door. We've been waiting for you. There you go. But
love it.
Get in the tank. We want to see
Get in
your
there,
dream team entries. We want to see if you got a character that you really wanted to, this is my favorite character. Well, come show us. Let's tell me, tell us what that character is all about. Why are they your favorite? Give us the stats. We'd love to take them and see if we can maybe use them in our own games. If you have an idea for, hey, you know what? I think that this power is not well reflected in the effects that are in the game book. Here's my version of it. But fine, bring it. If you have a flaw, please, we want to see it. Get in the tank. Let us know.
Now, do know that when you share your stuff in the tank, the idea is it's sort of a leave a villain, take a villain kind of situation. Take a villain, leave a villain. But you are sharing into this sort of space where people will, so inspired, will take up, maybe borrow aspects or elements. That's the other thing I love too, because it doesn't have to be even a complete idea. It can be just a sort of a very fascinating take on a facet of developing a character. All that stuff is available to you, and you can incorporate some of that stuff into your. We demand that you let us know how it goes, and you talk to the creator and share some feedback, and then like we said, take a villain, leave a villain. It's good for everybody.
So David Bollock brought up, is it time to start planning the 25th anniversary of Eminem?
It might be past time and it might already be happening. So, but I would be very interested in hearing, what would you like? You know what? I'll do a poll, a question in the tank saying, hey, because it's not just the 25th anniversary of Eminem. It's the 25th anniversary of Green Ronin.
Ooh.
It's all of it. It's all the stuff.
Yeah.
And so, we'll get some stuff cooking in the tank. And if you got some thoughts, just get in there. Just go. Just go. Do that by going to Atomic Think Tank.
In the tank.
And then you'll get asked 3 questions pretty soon. We will be removing the questions as a barrier to entry, but not yet. Not quite. We're almost to 1,000 folks.
Almost. Ooh,
very, very,
almost.
Very close. Very close.
That would be great if we could get 1,000 folks by the time you guys do the celebration of the 25th anniversary.
I've been trying. I create about 10 or 12 accounts a day, and I keep signing. No, I don't.
I'm getting out there. I'm trying to put it in there. But one thing I wanted to do before we go, I wanted to put in the links for RC Beeler's Masks and Mayhem. I'm going to put in also the GoFundMe link for RC and the GoFundMe for Owen K. Stevens as well. Owen KC Stevens, sorry about that, as well. They are still, this is one of the great things about this community, that you guys all come together, you help each other out. And I can't tell you how much that, how proud that makes me to be a member of a community like that. So
absolutely. Hey,
help
Saving
them
Throw
out
says,
if you can.
yeah, please do. Saving Throw says, I will say our M&M 3-shot is the most popular. Okay, good. Actual play on their channel. So a 25th anniversary M&M sounds awesome. Awesome. That is awesome.
Hey, do you have it? You know what, Savings Throw? Give me that link. Come to the tank. Give me that link. We'll put it on blast.
Yeah, we will. I got to tell you, the Mutants and Masterminds community loves an actual play.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you people will hang out for hours and hours just watching and watching, which I think is fantastic. And I try to keep up, and I just cannot do it. But Saving Throw, are we following you?
I hope so.
I thought we were.
Is he saving?
Yes,
throw
we are.
on?
Indeed, we are.
Okay, good. All
Good,
right,
good. Yeah, just making sure. Okay, well, friend, listen, we are, we're just giving out bonus minutes.
That's
like
right.
It's free.
Almost.
Like we're made of minutes or something.
And you get a minute. You get a minute. You get a minute.
Everybody gets a minute. Well, wait a minute. Devious, thanks for all your good and hard work in the tank. I do truly appreciate it. Thank you to the chat. As always, you miscreants, you recalcitrants, just adore you. Thank you so much, you kaiju. And with that, I think we are done. Do tune in for, this is we're closing in on the end of the campaign for the Expanse backer kit. Oh gosh, we've also got sales today too. We've got stuff. We've got things very spooky, very, very spooky, very demure, very
spooky kids.
New releases like, am I gonna put this over your ear?
Is this in the Green Running store?
Will you pop your camera off?
Oh, I will be more than happy to pop my camera off.
Because it's in the background.
How do I pop my camera off?
I'm going to do this real fast. And then you can turn on your mic. Your mic's off right now. Yeah, look at this spooky thing. Cthulhu Mythos and Brinkmanship, not Brinksmanship. They're released, and I will drop a link. And then also we have a 20% off sale for second edition Fantasy Age and Cthulhu Awakens. Those core rule books are on sale and 20% off in our store and at Drive-Thru RPG. So get it while the getting is good. Yeah.
Spooky. Ooh, spooky kids. Ooh.
Do it.
And we would have made it too if it weren't for those meddling kids and their dog.
I like how did you like my Canadian version?
Oh, what's that? Oh, sorry, dude.
We do. Okay. So Gerald says Cape City will be delayed. Our tech guy is stuck in traffic. Okay. A little late. You're welcome, Paul. Thank you for tuning in. And Fantasy Age is super fun, Saving Throw. And so are you. Hey, I think we're done.
Yep.
Excellent. Everybody.
Well, wait. There's one more thing we have to do before we go.
What is it?
You know that those two words that mean so much to you. Very close. Very close. But what do you got to say? And then we'll do it at the end.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.